The fall of the top actor from House of Cards, Kevin Spacey. Well, apparently everything started October 30 when Buzzfeed wrote an article speaking about sexual misconduct perpetrated by Kevin Spacey. In this article, Anthony Rapp accuses Kevin Spacey of sexual harassment when he was 14. Allegedly, everything happened in 1986 when they both were performing on Broadway shows. Anthony Rapp says he never told this story to anyone. He's today 46 years old, and he describes this situation saying, "I still to this day can't wrap my head around so many aspects of it. It's just deeply confusing to me." BuzzFeed keeps going and writes that people working for Kevin Spacey, who's today 58, contacted and they never left an answer. They didn't want to talk about this, and they refer to the fact that after the story came out, Kevin Spacey posted on Twitter that he didn't remind anything happening and he deeply apologizes. He said specifically, and I quote, "But if I did behave then as he describes, I owe him the sincerest apology for what have been deeply inappropriate drunken behavior." He keeps writing on Twitter saying, "I now choose to live as a gay man," which can be seen as a way of diffusing tension. Remember that these accusations just came out after Harvey Weinstein situation. I have read the BuzzFeed story, what Anthony Rapp said. In my perspective, it looks like a quite honest story, looks like a well-detailed description. It doesn't look to me like a made-up story. It doesn't look to me someone searching for fame or for money or for revenge, despite that can happen, but it looks to me like a very well controlled, honest description. I don't know if that is true or not. I haven't found many aspects led me to think this here makes no sense, some red flags. I wouldn't say that. In the BuzzFeed article, one can read how everything happened in 1986, and apparently he was invited to join Kevin Spacey at a popular nightclub, Limelight. He said, and I quote, "It was just a fun night, just talking and hanging out." He said he can't remember what he told to his mother. Then they went to the apartment, Kevin Spacey's apartment, and Anthony Rapp says he quickly realized that he was the only non-adult there. He said he didn't know anyone and he felt quickly kind of bored. He went to the bedroom, Kevin Spacey's bedroom, and stayed on the bed watching TV past midnight. Then he says that Kevin Spacey was apparently drunk, stood in the doorway, giving the impression that Anthony Rapp was blocked from leaving. He says he was trying to seduce me. He says Kevin Spacey put him on the bed, landing at a slight angle on top of him. So Rapp says he felt very uncomfortable and decided to leave the room, and the last thing he hears from Kevin Spacey, and I quote, "Are you sure you wanna go?" And Rapp said, "Yes, good night," and he left. After the BuzzFeed news came out, more episodes were written. One can read on CNN that apparently more employees from House of Cards are saying that they were allegedly sexual harassed by Kevin Spacey during the shooting of the series. Some of them are saying that Kevin Spacey turned the work environment in a toxic space. I'm not going to enter in more details here. Apparently this story is not going to stop. I wouldn't be surprised if more people will come forward. I wouldn't be surprised if more stories are going to be written about this situation. I would say that probably the sooner someone talks, and I am referring to this specific situation, the sooner someone talks, the faster probably the situation will have a stop. And I am not condemning anyone here. I'm not saying that people have gone wrong not speaking. That's not it, because if someone is young, if someone has a work, needs the money, has to keep earning a living, in the end people are people, and we have to deal with so many aspects of life. But I'm just trying to say that the sooner that someone talks about the situation, probably the better, because it helps someone who is going on a wrong path, beginning to believe that he might be untouchable. He can keep doing it over and over again. There's no problem on it. There's no penalty. There's no fault. There is only his side, what he likes to do, how he thinks the situation should happen, what he wants to happen, what he's trying to get. As soon as someone opens the mouth and talk to expose, especially in the beginning stages of these situations, I think it's the best for everyone, because it will help someone who is doing wrong to at least understand that it's not acceptable. And I say this because sometimes people change, but they don't understand that they are wrong, but at least they change their behavior. As soon as people open the mouth and talk, behaviors can be changed, red flags can be raised, and the other part can understand that it's not okay. It's really not okay. It can be a crime, and even if it's not condemned, he's making the life very hard for people around him. For the other part, I think that as soon as people speak about what happened, the better, because then they don't need to going on with their living, pushing a burden that no one deserves, that they didn't ask for it, they don't want, that makes life harder and harder. I think it's the best. Now, on a side note, the best series on TV has been halted by Netflix due to this situation. I feel so sorry for every actor on the cast, because they didn't deserve this. I was a fan. Another aspect of these situations, it's not just involving House of Cards, it's not just involving Harvey Weinstein. It's a common thing that happens in almost every situation like this. It's like the Bill Cosby situation too. When you look inside what was happening, you can clearly see that everyone's from the cast, every producers, everybody involved knew what was going on. Almost everybody generally in these situations knows what's going on, what is wrong, what's happening, but they just keep pushing forward this train of insanity, making it worse day by day. They just keep shooting every scene, making another episode, going to the next season, getting some Grammys, and while that is going on what looks a normal path, in the shadows a completely different story is being written. It's the same cast, the same production team, and when something unzips from the story in the shadows, when some bolt just jumps out, when some screw starts to loosen up, the derail happens, the story hits the news, and we say, oh, so it wasn't like what we were thinking. Oh, so this person, this actor that we used to love was doing this or that. Oh, some people were suffering because of what was going on. I don't know if House of Cards will be renewed or not, if they are going to continue to shoot the series. I hope they don't cancel it. I hope they make something happen so that we the fans keep watching it. But inside me I know that's probably not going to happen. I have no idea how this story is going to end. The only thing I know is that it's not going to end well for Kevin Spacey.